This will be good for the outtakes. Oh my God. So anyway.
So we have the same Veronice
Sarabande. Well, anyways, let's do this. Welcome to the Gore Club podcast with benefits and Ace.
And me.
And Ace. So as you know, we are streaming unlive from the Gore Club podcast studios, but this is the benefits. And the benefit is you get to see like hot spots, like lights that bouncing off posters where they're not supposed to be because this is off of my phone and not our normal cameras.
Yeah, that's good.
Tonight we're going to be talking about soundtracks. But first up, we got to do the Gore Club with podcast benefits theme song. Do you know what it is?
What is it?
Dun 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 dun. That's it. That's all I ever do.
With benefits.
Yeah, with benefits. What the? That's gross. So, what are we doing? Let's just, we're talking about, I don't know. I'm going to edit this out because I just stumbled like 5 times.
Favorite soundtracks.
Favorite soundtracks or soundtracks because we're just collectors and we have to have soundtracks?
A little bit of both.
I'm going to go with number 2.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to go a little bit of history actually on the first records that I ever bought were the Veressé Sarabande.
Yes.
I'm probably saying it wrong and I don't care.
That's a hard word. I never even heard anybody pronounce that word till tonight.
I think I just made it up, so that's great. It's like when I did a whole video on masks and said Zagon, and somebody in the comments, thank you by the way, Zagonin. As long as I've been collecting masks, I never had anybody ever tell me like pronounce it or even say it around my ears. But anyway, let's do this.
Let's do it.
If you're listening or watching this and then you see something that you think we should correct, or if we're wrong, which is the same thing about being corrected, just put it in the comment section if you're on our YouTube channel. And while you're at it, like and subscribe so we can make more of these.
Yeah, do it.
Or don't if you don't want us to.
Please.
So, Veressé Sarabande. It was formed in 1978, and it was like, what is it? It's named after a dance and a composer. 2 different companies got together, and they pretty much started what I remember being the very first soundtrack, like film soundtrack records that I ever bought.
And that's much before when I first started buying soundtracks.
What was the first company that you ever remember?
The first company I ever bought a soundtrack from was probably Lost Highway soundtrack, David Lynch movie, which was Nothing Interscope, which was famous for Marilyn Manson, 9 Inch Nails, stuff like that back in the 90s when I was a young lad.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, we're going to go with Veressé Sarabande.
We'll do that one first.
Vamp. There's so many. The Howling. Look at that.
Both got them.
Yeah. Is yours sealed or unsealed?
Oh, it is unsealed and has a little water damage on the side there, but it's good.
That's the great thing about collecting records, man. Is I'm a collector. I don't plan to sell my stuff. Mine was sealed to about like 3 years ago when my girlfriend wanted to listen to it and I was at work.
Yikes.
And I came home and I was like, this is, I know this record. And she's like, oh yeah, I just opened it up and started listening to it. And I think I shit on myself. That was not a good day in the VESSELL household. But I mean, I've got Vamp. I collected, I picked it up at, I forgot what record store. It was like this little bitty one in Cincinnati. I think it's still there. It's called Shaken Records.
Oh yeah, they're still there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aliens soundtrack, even though the first one I think was off of Warner Brothers. I can't remember the company that did that, but they decided to start doing them off of Veressé Sarabande. Do you have any other soundtracks?
That is the only one I have from there.
Well, then I'll just do this.
You get a whole stack.
Escape from New York. The Flea 2. And what's cool is they actually put out newer ones. Everyone always thinks of them as like a classic company that's not even around anymore. I Know What You Did Last Summer. 2-album collections.
I didn't even know they did new stuff like that. So
yeah, it's badass. Cool. Yeah, and I mean, to be honest, this cover artwork is awful. Yeah. I mean, you couldn't do. You know what?
That's a little more creative.
Yeah, they did. They did a lot of John Carpenter records. Starman, which is like his apology for The Thing, which I don't agree with.
Starman's good.
I'm just going to keep doing this. You talk.
Prince of Darkness. Prince of Darkness is one of my favorite soundtracks. I love that soundtrack. Creepshow. That's another top for me. Night of the Living Dead.
Night of the Living Dead. This was one of the first ones I also bought. I stole money from my mom's purse while she was sleeping. And over a few months' time, I was able to purchase this at a record company here. It's still around, but they're just a completely different kind of record store now than they were. And it's called Electric Ladyland in Louisville, Kentucky.
Oh, yeah. and not really a movie known for its music.
I know, but who gives a
I
shit?
can't
It's so
remember any of
fucking great. I've got the Day of the Dead. We'll get to all that. So, so the thing about the symbol that everyone knows, the logo, is actually just an ink blot. With Indie ink that blew through a straw. Magic. I don't know if you want to go through my list or we can just keep going. I've got Island Records. They did Return of the Dead Part 2, Angel Heart.
Well, I have Return of the Living Dead Part 1.
Oh, okay.
Which...
Is that the remaster?
This is... Yeah, it's definitely a newer one. This is 2015.
That's badass.
Which yours is probably a little older.
You want one of these?
Yeah, just take one of yours, it's fine.
I wanted to get the remasters. That's when they put out those, they did like colored vinyls. I love the variants they do when they bring those out.
Yeah, it has a Gray Brains vinyl edition on this one.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which, if I can get it out there, Brains vinyl. I don't know, I've never, Gray Brains.
Gray Brains.
Also, John likes this one from the record store I bought this from.
Oh, I love that. It's like Dirk says that one's cool.
Yeah.
I actually have these Japanese 45s.
Those are cool.
Yeah, they're badass. And somebody actually, took a really good care of them and put them in these rigid plastic things.
That's Demons, right?
What?
Is that? What is that? Is that Return? Oh, okay. Yeah.
This is Return. Oh, I
looked.
Okay, I have to go. This one's good. Battalion. It's the Japanese big album version of it.
When I saw that, it looked like that hand from Demons from the side where it's holding the whole audience. If you've ever seen that poster, it looks like that.
I have passed up all kinds of movies and soundtracks and even just like records if the label or not the label, but the cover looks like crap. This one looks like shit. I never liked it. I'll even zoom it in. It's the cool idea, but I just like it's like that scene from The Burbs when he keeps flipping the painting around. It's like, where is it supposed to go?
Yeah.
Actually, up next I've got Shocker.
Oh, Shocker!
Shocker! I like your stern face as he's trying to look at my laptop and go, we have a list.
You got the Shocker record. I got the Shocker tape, which is a cool. Nice little thing to have.
Yeah, that's Alive Records. It's the only one, Alive Records. This is the only record of theirs that I actually bought.
And if you're a fan of the Dudes of Wrath, pick up this tape.
Yeah, and there's the rap with Horace Pinker and Alice Cooper, I think.
I think that.
He drags his foot and he trucks his ears knife.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely. They have the Ballad of Horace Pinker on here also, which is great.
I'm just going to go down the list here. We've got Enigma Records. They did Return of the Dead from Beyond, which I don't even know where my From Beyond record is. I should. We have so many stacks of records. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, there's a lot in here. We got.
What do you got? You got heavy metal.
I got heavy metal, the soundtrack to the stellar film Heavy Metal.
It's like if you have one, I have the other.
Yeah. This has big gatefold.
I'm gonna die.
Big gatefold in there. Little stuff from the movie.
You're trying to say yours is bigger than mine and better.
This is a Canadian copy, actually.
Oh, that's awesome. Asylum Records and Full Moon.
This is also another one where I watched this movie as a kid and I was like, oh, heavy metal. I bet that soundtrack's great. And then you look at the back of it and you're like, Journey, Stevie Nicks. This isn't heavy metal at all.
Yeah, no shit. I bought this 45 7-inch for $2.50. If we're going by record like releases, like I have a list I've got The Shining over here. What company did I even have that from? I cannot remember.
It was Warner Brothers.
Oh, right? Look at you.
Yeah.
Knowledge over here.
Speaking of Warner Brothers.
Oh shit, I'll pull out a baby, you pull out a baby.
We have Clockwork Orange. Look at that, right at the same time.
We are two both fucked up human beings. This movie scared the shit out of me when I was a kid.
Yeah, this is probably another one of my earliest like movies that I remember the soundtrack specifically, like because it stands out so much. Which is also done by Wendy Carlos, who also did The Shining, and she was most famous for Switched on Bach, which was her playing kind of like an early keyboard to Bach music. So it was like an early electronic music, kind of a pioneer at the time, which I wanted to bring up.
Yeah.
But yeah, these.
Are you sure it's Wendy?
Wendy Carlos.
Didn't you say, or like at one time it's like Walter?
It used to be Walter. She is now.
Oh, that's fucking cool.
Yeah.
Or is it now? Are they Walter and they used to be Wendy?
No, she's Wendy now.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Hey, Wendy. We like your music.
Wendy Carlos.
We love it, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, and now let's see. We've got RCA Records. The Addams Family.
Addams Family. Dynagroove.
Dynagroove. Okay, so the reason I put that on there, Dynagroove, he's looking at like thing, is because I'll even read it from the amazing vinyl that says Dynagroove. Dynagroove records are the product of RCA Victor's newly developed system of recording, which provides a spectacular improvement in the sound quality. Dynagroove. I don't know why I keep wanting to do like the MC Hammer version, but it's not. That's not cool.
That's not the record you have.
No, it's not the record I have.
Just the snaps.
And the Casablanca Records did Alien and Love at First Bite. Now, the Love at First Bite has a lot of disco cool shit on there if you want to think that's cool. They also did Alien.
Nice.
This is like the totally opposite of when they sold out and did Aliens. Just joking, I fucking love Aliens.
I think Casablanca also, was that Kiss was on that, I think, at the time?
Do you like I like Kiss?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Do I look like I like Kiss? Just kidding. I love disco. Ace was made for loving you, baby.
You got that Beetlejuice?
Yeah, Geffen Records.
Geffen, yeah. That's
Geffen. I'll keep him busy while you look around. So Geffen Records, David Geffen. He put out like one of my favorite horror films from the 90s is Interview with the Vampire. But Beetlejuice record, Danny Elfman. This used to be hard to find. I think now the reissues are cool, so now you can find all these records in spectacular Dynagroove sounding performance.
Speaking of that one earlier, Lost Highway soundtrack.
Oh yeah, and is that
Nothing Interscope.
Is that real?
This is a bootleg.
Oh, it's awesome. It's totally a Misfits version.
I think I found this on the internet somewhere. Somebody was like, hey man, this site's selling the Lost Highway soundtrack. And I was like, oh shit, I love that movie so much. And I've had the CD to this since I was in the 7th grade. So
I can't do math either.
One of my favorites. But yeah, you got all the, 9 Inch Nails, Rammstein, first time I heard them. Good stuff. But if you can never find this anywhere, good luck.
Yeah, I love that. And I'll take a bootleg because I love bootleg records. I do, because sometimes you can't find, like we talk about reissues and people complain about reissues. Sometimes they're good because, for one, it takes the price of the original down so I can obtain it.
Yes. Also,
same company that put out Beetlejuice put out this promo for Gremlins where somebody decided to sign their name on because kids are stupid. And this only has like 6 songs on it. Thanks, Geffen Records. Yep. Up next is One Way Static Records, which is a small company. Well, a smaller company that's come out in the last few years.
Yeah.
And that's the one, he's getting ready to pull out some gold. That's the one I remember.
Cannibal Pharaoh. Is how this is pronounced.
Yeah, and we've talked about that before, I think, on the podcast. Is like, we all say Ferox, or Make Them Die Slowly, because I'm American stupid.
Yeah. Banned in 31 countries. Maybe. Who knows?
Maybe. I think they made that up. I love the thing about gatefolds. Is yours open? I'll fuck it up.
This one does not have a gatefold.
Oh, shit.
So you have a better copy than me.
It's not better. It's just different. Something just
that's
felt
nice, yeah.
I felt like I'm playing violin. But the thing about gatefolds is now you can jerk off twice as long.
Yeah, you don't get that with the digital download, people.
Yeah, we want to talk about why we collect shit
that
people think is stupid.
I love a big record with the art. I love the dumb colors they put in there of whatever it's supposed to be. This one's just black. You get all the story on the front, all the description of everything on there. Then on the back, they have some other stuff that's available from One Way Static. This is probably, One Way Static's one of the first ones that I really knew that was putting out like old record, like re-releasing horror soundtracks. And one of the first ones I got from them was this Last House on the Left cassette. If you can barely see that. Got this Last House on the Left cassette, found it locally, and I was like, man, somebody is like re-releasing movie soundtracks. That's crazy, and I love it. And that was one of the first ones I came across. And then after I came familiar with One Way Static, they came out with the Hills Have Eyes soundtrack, and it comes in this nice little radioactive static shield bag here
to protect you.
And which it's still inside there. I'm not going to open it up, but trust me, it's 73 out of 100. So me and 99 other people have this.
99 people give a shit about that. Awesome. Yeah, that's badass. They put out this kick-ass Candyman 2 vinyl with, look, it's another gatefold. Ooh.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome.
It's so cool. Thank you. We love you, One Way Static. Now we're going to do a couple of one-offs.
This is some one-off stuff. Metal Blade Records, Black Roses, amazing soundtrack. This is probably my favorite, just straight soundtrack that's not like a score to a movie. This has Bang Tango on there. Lizzie Borden did a lot of this music on here too, as well. Howl's Eve.
People mainly remember the Lizzie Borden songs. Yeah. It's kind of a shame, but those songs are still good.
Yeah, Me Against the World, that song's awesome. It's in the trailer for the movie. It's probably the most memorable. I also have this on cassette as well.
Who put the cassette out? Do you remember?
Metal Blade put it out.
No shit.
Yeah, because I think most of these bands were signed to Metal Blade at the time, so they all did the soundtrack for it.
Yeah, own the rights to that.
Yeah.
And now they can actually make money off the soundtrack, because back then nobody gave a shit.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of Black Roses, we're bringing Frank Dietz to town, to Louisville, Kentucky on June 11th, I think. He's going to do a live commentary to the film Black Roses, so shameful plug for us.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
That's going to be badass. Atlantic Records? Are you going to do Trick or Treat?
Well, I was going to say, if we're on the topic of heavy metal records.
Heavy metal!
This is Columbia.
I don't know where mine's hiding, but we've got that.
I think we have the tape and the CD of this here. Yeah, we have all three formats.
These are bad. This is a bad family. Headbanger family.
Yeah, this is Fast Eddie Clark. Fastway did the whole soundtrack. Most famous for being a Motorhead.
You put a pencil in there and rewind it.
Rewind that. Yeah. This whole soundtrack's amazing. I love this much.
And it's one of those.
This movie.
It's one of those few soundtracks where the one band did the entire soundtrack.
Yeah.
And they have the lead singer from Flogging Molly.
Oh yeah, he's.
Oh yeah.
Also, you got Gene Simmons and Ozzy Osbourne in this movie. Nowhere on the soundtrack.
Nowhere on the soundtrack. They probably couldn't afford them.
Couldn't afford to put them on.
They could afford Fastway, but they could not afford Ozzy Osbourne. So we're going to do Atlantic Records. Atlantic Records, I only have a few. I have Tubular Bells, which is my introduction to the Exorcist soundtrack that I didn't have at the time, because this was so much easier to find.
Yeah.
Mike Oldfield. And he's got a whole bunch of stuff on here, but I don't care.
Yeah, you just want to hear Tubular Bells.
There's like 40 songs on this fucking. One's called Honky Tonk. I'm sure it's amazing. I just would skip every time to Tubular Bells and just sit there and jerk off. It was great.
I first heard that. I had a teacher in school, like when I was in middle school, played that whole soundtrack in class one day while we were doing like homework or something. I remember asking her, I was like, "What is this? This sounds amazing."
And then I got that.
Like, it's the soundtrack to The Exorcist. And I was like, no way. So it's another little like seed somebody planted in me as a kid that led to spending thousands of dollars on records.
I think that's thousands. Yeah. What you got there, man?
Lost Boys. You know this one.
If you're a horror fan.
Yeah, you should know this soundtrack. Cry Little Sister. I
Still Believe.
I Still Believe. Echo and the Bunnymen. Like, yeah.
That's actually the only song on there I knew for like 30 years.
Yeah.
And they did the cover of People Are Strange.
Yeah.
People Are Strange, whatever.
People Are Strange.
This is good. That's so easy to find. I have the cassette upstairs, the CD, and the vinyl.
Yeah. I still have the sticker on. I paid $3 for this. Like, you can find this literally anywhere. And I still listen to this regularly. Like, if I'm at the house, Halloween, any time of the year. Always jamming some Cry Little Sister at the house. Yeah. Well, I'll see it in the store and I'll just buy another copy because it's so cheap, and then I'll give those away as gifts. Here's another thing that they did. The Demon Knight soundtrack. That's a good soundtrack. It is. And the thing about this is actually the reissue. It's a limited edition of like 1,100, I think. And then because it has like the green vinyl. And that's why I like reissues, is because they do cool shit like this. Yeah, that's cool. And Death Metal Dave would chime in here and say, yeah, but the quality sucks. Yeah, I think I've heard the songs before, Dave. People shit on colored vinyl. I know there's like picture discs. Picture discs. Like, picture discs. I'm not like an audiophile, but picture discs sound like shit. They're just there for you to hang on the wall and be like, look at that. Yeah. There it is. I've got a Butchered at Birth and a Number of the Beast picture disc on the wall upstairs, and I don't listen to them. They're fucking badass looking. I only have 2 picture discs, and one is the Rocky Horror soundtrack, and the other is Impetigo. Of course. And they both sound terrible. Here's a weird one-off, at least for like this company that came out. This is the Jimmy Page soundtrack to Death Wish 2.
And this is the re-release of it, and it came out in 2016, maybe. I can't remember. I can't even read that far down. This is number 295 out of 1,000. And it's badass. And this was like, they commissioned this soundtrack from Jimmy Page while he was going through like the darkest time. John Bonham had just died. And apparently his neighbor, who was the director, was just like walked over to his house because they lived next door and was like, hey, dude, stop worshiping Aleister Crowley and write a record for us for our movie. And he came over. He flew over, looked at like a couple of pieces of film and said, okay, leave me alone. I'm making my own shit. This is what it is. And then apparently the company that made the movie was just freaking out like, that's the worst idea.
Yeah.
And it's actually really good.
Kanan didn't do that one, did they?
Oh, no.
Kanan started doing it on part 3.
Yeah. Okay. I thought you meant like the album. No, this is jimmypage.com.
Oh, nice.
This is where you can find it. This is actually a sealed copy, but I have heard it.
I was going to say, I don't think Kanan was probably shelling out money to Jimmy Page to do a soundtrack in the 80s.
Now, we're talking about record companies that put out awesome records. The only one I have from Unseen Forces, you may have one over there, is The Evil Dead 2016 or 20. Is it 2013? What year was this goddamn thing came out? 2013.
Yeah.
I'm glad I wrote that down. And they did a fucking kick-ass job because I love gatefolds. And it's 4 records. So that's the thing about putting out like something that even like an older record that only has 1 record. And when it becomes a double record, because the quality goes up, so they need more room to whatever press it. And it's got like kick-ass vinyl.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
I love it. I love this movie. Talking about records again. No, hang on. Let's fuck that. What's the next one you want to talk about? What do you got there?
Waxwork Records, Reanimator. H.P. Lovecraft's Reanimator.
Yeah, Stuart Gordon actually didn't have anything to do with it. That's right. I think he was a producer. That's a Brian Usna film.
Yeah. Music composed, conducted by Richard Band.
Is this the original or is this Bride of Reanimator?
This is
Reanimator. Oh, okay. Cut. Go ahead.
Reanimator.
Wait, give me a second so I can fucking... and then go ahead.
We got Reanimator.
We got Reanimator. We're going to talk about Death Waltz Records for a second.
Death Waltz.
We're going to talk... Okay.
Start over.
We're going to talk about Waxworks Records for a minute.
What you got? Reanimator.
Stuart Gordon's Reanimator.
Stuart Gordon's Reanimator. This is all done by Richard Band, who does tons of music, which he might be more known for music than doing movies. That really, at this point, I think he did every Puppet Master movie and all that. Yeah, I think he did a lot of music for them.
Oh yeah, I mean Richard Band's been doing record soundtracks for Stuart Gordon and the Empire. I mean for Charles Band, his brother. Yeah. Since the inception of like New World or whatever.
Yeah, and this was Stuart Gordon directed this. Brian Usna produced this.
And Brian did the second one.
This is a cool thing. It has side A, Cat Dead, side B, details later. That's some other cool stuff. You get. Also, you get the nice colored vinyl there with the green little splatter and the agent. Got the dead cat on there. Yeah, this is an excellent release. And also the entire main title of this is just the Psycho theme.
It is. He's a big Bernard Herrmann fan.
Yeah.
Bernard Herrmann, I have his last record on soundtrack, and I think they re-released that as well. It's the Taxi Driver soundtrack. It's Bernard Herrmann's last film soundtrack. And then I've got Friday the 13th, Part 3, 3D, another gatefold. Waxwork, when they came out, I think from what I remember, they came out before Mondo. They came out before like a lot of the other companies, and they were the ones I remember being like really kicking ass with reissue soundtracks or ones that had never been released before.
Next one I got, Starry Eyes. It's probably not a super well-known movie, but the soundtrack's it's very synthy, if that's even a word. It kind of has like a little haunting vibe to it. I like it. The movie's basically, girl moves to Hollywood, wants to be a star, finds out what you have to do to be a star in Hollywood, kind of takes a real crazy turn and goes into like weird cult stuff. It's a great movie. I suggest watching it. Also, the soundtrack's really good, really stood out to me when I was watching it. And I think I found a deal, I think maybe one of those Black Friday deals, and I got this like pretty good deal on this from Waxwork.
Yeah.
Love this soundtrack.
I love it when companies get so big they can start doing like Black Friday deals. So I'm just going to go through a shit ton of what I've got from them. I've got the Friday the 13th Part 2 soundtrack gatefold. This is the one they released, which I had to have. It's House 1 and House 2, double LP. Krampus. Comes with kick-ass gatefold and, of course, colored vinyl. This one, I'm really surprised how much it's gone up in prices. The Nightbreed one. This is still sealed. Nightbreed had been released before, but not like this. Not with all the tracks they put on this sucker. They were able to just really deck the sucker out. And I think you can get this now for like $100.
Oh, probably easily, yeah.
What do you got?
I got another great one, Chopping Mall. This is probably another favorite soundtrack of mine, even though it's basically just the same song over, like 20 tracks on this. It's just the same, like, the whole time. But, I really like this. It's very simple. I mean, it just kind of shows what you can do with just somebody, they probably recorded this in a weekend and we're just like, hey, can you just do a soundtrack for us real quick? Threw it together, put it on there. Very memorable part of the movie for me because it kind of sticks out, and I bought this. Also has cool little back there, got the finger. A lot of people when this came out hated this artwork on here, which it's fine. It's an 80s movie. It's got crazy 80s neon artwork. Like, what else do you want, man? Like, everything can't be super cult with a KVLT,
I was going to mention that because when that came out, it reminded me when I bought the Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers record.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because it's very much same, like the updated sort of, like, I don't even know what the hell you would call it, but it's like trying to be retro, hardcore. But I love this one thing. I love this movie. And, this is one you can actually jerk off to.
Blur that out.
But this is from Death Waltz, I believe. Yeah, it's a Death Waltz record. So they're like almost the same artist. So I need to dig into that.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
But back to Waxwork, I got the Tourist Trap record. Chud, which this is one of those movies I couldn't believe they were putting out. Like Tourist Trap, Chud, they were really finding obscure movies, at least obscure to like more mainstream people because it's not a slasher movie or it's not, a Nightmare on Elm Street, which is a slasher movie, Steve. Okay, anyways, but like these kind of movies, and they helped revitalize some of these films to get re-released again.
Do you have Chud too?
No.
You don't get the Bud the Chud song?
No.
Bud the Chud.
I've got Black Christmas.
Sweet.
Okay, we're going to talk about a very like obscure record label that I've never really heard of until he found this.
Yeah. Silva Screen Records. This is The Wicker Man. If you can't see that. This is another movie I watched. First time I watched it, immediately like all the music stood out to me, and actually just kind of ran across this, and it's kind of cool because a lot of times you don't get cool CDs that come out with little things in it. This one actually came with a nice sized little movie poster to come with it that I have framed in my house right now. Got this nice book with like a whole history of like everything with Wicker Man inside there. Like you can read the whole thing. Got a nice little picture of Willow in there. Which also like Willow Song is another one that really like, I bet I listened to that song like 10 times that weekend after I watched this movie, just because I had that like just going through my head the whole time. And it's a very nice part of the movie too, if you haven't seen it.
Have you seen the extended cut, eh? It's all in there. From the same company I found the Warlock soundtrack. Now this is that movie that I remember waiting for years for it to come out. Like they talked about it in Fangoria magazine when I was a kid, and then it just disappeared. Like you never heard about it again. And then it finally came out, and I saw it direct to video pretty much. But I found this almost not long after probably you found that.
Yeah.
I'd never heard of Silva Records.
Screen.
Warlock. Well, Ace is fuddling around. Oh, you're okay.
Oh,
here we go.
Go ahead.
No, it's fine. We're talking about one-off record companies, or at least the ones that I don't know about, and that's RIC, Rick Records.
Rick Records.
This is the original release of this. I think they've been re-releasing this album because I've seen it more and more at conventions, and this is in near perfect condition, and it probably is because nobody listened to it because the music is just fucking awful. But the greatest thing is it's a Three Peaks band, and they were actually able to get Robert Englund to do like vocals and do ad-libs and all kinds of stuff.
You don't want to hear, you don't like listening to Robert Englund as Freddie sing Bully Bully?
Just go to, that's the fucking thing. Just go to YouTube and listen to it, and you'll be like, oh, Steve's right. Or you'll love it. Who knows?
Bully Bully, bitch.
Bully Bully, bitch. Oh, my God. Where do you want to go with this next?
I had another little one-off. This really, this just says Flick Records.
Flick.
It just says Flick. This is the Hardware soundtrack. Which I bought this, and it does. Hardware has one of my favorite songs from a movie, which is the Public Image Limited song, where it's like, this is what you want, this is what you get, the order of death. And I was like, oh man, that song's probably on there. Bought this straight up just the score, but that song's not even on here, which is fine. Like I'd actually bought that actual album later on and got that too. But that is a great soundtrack. Don't listen to it all the time, but this is another one that has just some killer like gatefold artwork in there. If you can see that, which has the whole robot.
Yeah, that's
everything.
Greg Humphreys. He's a badass artist.
And that's amazing artwork. I love that.
Yeah.
You don't get that with just a CD.
Yeah, man. The first time I saw Greg Humphreys' artwork was the Evil Dead box from England, and it looked like it's like license plate size, like a steel box.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he did the artwork for that, and I was like, who the hell is that guy? I'm going to take a second and talk about children's records. Anybody remember the Gremlins ones? Like, this is actually all in one story with the record, and you have like a little storybook. And then, of course, they put out these. You have like all the different ones, and it looks like I'm missing one for some reason. It's probably upstairs, but they had like the whole story of Gremlins. And I love children's books, especially like for me. Like mom would be like, "Oh, you're gonna like this. I haven't seen the movie yet," and it scared the shit out of me.
It kind of reminds me of those, like, it looks like a Me First and the Gimme Gimmes album, with that, which is not a band I listen to, but that artwork looks exactly like that Gizmo and the Gremlins.
Well, it's great because you have a 45, and then you have this kick-ass little illustrated storybook that goes with it.
Oh, so does it read along with the book?
Yes.
You know what one of the best ones of those is? If you ever got the E.T. soundtrack, and Michael Jackson reads E.T. to you as you listen to it.
What?
Yeah, so you could hear Michael Jackson reading the E.T. story to you as a child.
I had an 8-track version of the story of Star Wars.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which was cool because it edited out like these. It will tell you, and now stop and flip over the record, or, you know, turn to whatever the fucking page. It'll have all that on there. Also, I have these old Burger Chef and Jeff. It's an old restaurant before Burger King that was like doing Halloween specials. And these are the ones that you would actually have like a little circle on there. You put a dime on it so it would stay in place for you could play it.
Oh, yeah. Burger Chef. The only reason I know what Burger Chef is from the show Mad Men. And
oh, my God.
Place in the 1960s, Steve.
Fuck this guy. 7 inches? You have any 7 inches?
I do not. I have
okay.
7 inches.
Well, I'll talk about 7 inches just for 1 second. 7 inches, 45s. I have the Mecco American Werewolf in London one. Now, Mecco would take soundtracks or scores that had not been released, and then they would basically just redo the whole thing in their own style and release it in like a smaller version. This only has 2 songs on it. It's got "You Gotta Hurt Me" and "Blue Moon."
I was going to say,
Go figure.
I was going to say, what moon-related song is that?
Yeah. This is the Lost Boys. Talking about Lost Boys soundtrack. I've got a bunch of these. These are the Good Times 45s that came out in excess. I don't know why I have so many, but I think they were all just like a stack of them. And I was like, I'll take all of them. And then Mondo put out Monster Squad. Now I have the 45, and I also have the record somewhere.
That artwork's pretty great with
it's so amazing.
The creature. We don't want to break any copyright laws with them, but the creature from a certain lagoon is on the front of this, which they could not name. Actually, it's just called the Gill Man, actually. The Gill Man. Frankenstein's monster.
I can't find my record.
Speaking of Mondo put this out. Speaking of them, they did the Batman the Animated Series, like a whole series of 7 inches with just the theme song to that 90s Batman movie. Or not movie, TV show, the cartoon. Yeah. And the one I got, which actually a friend gave to me, has Clayface on it. And then the record, when you take it out, is like brown, like the color of the clay.
That's fucking cool.
Really great. And that theme song to that Batman the Animated TV series is like burned into my brain because I watched that so much as a kid, and it still to this day holds up. It's probably the best representation of Batman ever. Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah.
I can't find my my Monster Squad actual 12-incher. If you could see behind us, we have stacks and stacks and stacks of records. But I did find my Fright Night original vinyl. They've re-released this as well, and this really kicked my ass when I was a kid. The Brad Fiedel. The music he wrote for this, just the score is badass. And then this actually has only one of his songs that he did. But the rest of it are like, Bop It Tonight, Fright Night by Jay Giles Band. This is that soundtrack as a kid that I remember that I really, really dug.
That's a great soundtrack. I still listen to that, like Man in a Bad Time or what. Yeah.
He's a good man.
Like, dancing in the mirror, like back and forth. Like that's the best.
What do you got?
Well, speaking of kids earlier, Rosemary's Baby soundtrack. Nice children's movie.
Yeah, it is.
Probably the most well-known thing on this soundtrack is just that like la 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 la.
Oh, it is,
which is kind of really creepy.
I think that's the oldest record that I have that I can't find.
Yeah, this is 1968. Yeah, John Cassavetes and an unnamed director.
Yeah, John Cassavetes was a rock star back then, and so for him to be in the Roman Polanski. Before the bad times of Roman Polanski, or maybe they were always bad times. We just didn't find out till later on.
Yeah.
But this is the soundtrack. Yeah, and this is by Dot Records, and this is the only one that I know. The only one that I have. We keep saying that it's like these people put out other records and other soundtracks, but the ones that I really gave a shit about was this Rosemary's Baby record. That was too slow. Ready? And 1, 2, 3. Goblin.
Man, Suspiria soundtrack. This whole soundtrack is a 10.
Cinevox.
I got to
heard of them.
Me and him both got to see Goblin perform this live in our hometown here.
Yeah. Claudio
Simonetti. I just stood up there the whole time for like they did the entire soundtrack over the movie as we watched the movie, and then played all the Goblin hits after that, even the stuff from Demons, everything, and was probably one of the very, if not the only show that I stood at the stage and didn't leave to get a beer or smoke or do anything the entire time. I was just glued on Claudio playing that keyboard up there.
Yeah, he had this keyboard that was like a frowny face.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And he was able to play it. And then when they were done, like he said, they did the 4K scan live and they did the soundtrack, which then it can be kind of disappointing when you realize that it's only 3 songs. Yeah. Cut into one, or it's 3 songs cut into an entire soundtrack.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is, I don't care. It's going to be amazing. I didn't give a shit. And then the whole band would stand up and play, and then they would sit back down, and they'd stand back up and play. And then after that, they just played all their greatest hits.
Yeah.
I have no idea why I just repeated everything you just did.
Yeah,
it was one of those times in my life I was like, I'm watching a legend. Like I've seen Alan Howarth play all of the John Carpenter hits that he and John Carpenter did together. But watching Claudio play live to a 4K scan of Suspiria was just life changing.
Yeah, as soon as they would start playing, you'd hear that like dun 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 hitting that drum, and you'd just be like, ah, like it's so
bass,
good. Yeah,
that fretless bass.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah.
We can go through all the Halloweens. That'd be cool.
All right, let's do it. Now we're going to do all the Halloweens because there are many. I don't own all of the soundtracks because I'm so picky about those. I didn't buy the reissues except for one, but it was a special, and we'll get to that. You go first.
This is the Halloween soundtrack. This was released by Mondo. This is, and a lot of people, you think it's just the one song from Halloween, and you're about half right.
I know I just said that, but yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry. Really cool gatefold. Got the house in there, looking across the street.
Yeah.
Really great artwork. And actually, like, if you look at the front of that, his mouth is actually the house from the movie, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. The packaging on that is just amazing.
Yeah, this whole package, like, even
simple,
just, it feels good when you
amazing.
pick it up.
Oh, yeah. Has that raw paper feel.
Yeah.
You can hear it in the microphone.
It's good stuff.
Sorry, I'm just rubbing on Ace's record.
Good John Carpenter.
Yeah. I have the original. Who made this? Versi Sarabande. And this is the thing. This is there are only a few songs on this, and they're just kind of like cut up and pieced back together. Like what's the one I like the most is the haunted house, and I realized as I got older, I was like, it's the same song that I heard from earlier, but the movie is so fucking amazing.
This one has 28 tracks on it.
Wow. Let's see. Mine has.
What that one has.
It's 12. No, it has 11.
11
tracks.
Somehow they got stretched it out for this big special edition.
Yeah. That might have stingers. It probably has some dialogue.
Yeah, there's
and if you have this and you've actually listened to it, because I have not listened to this yet, so I don't know.
This does have the dialogue. So like, if you ever listen to this, it's 52 minutes long. So this is kind of like, if you just want to like a shortened version of the movie, you can listen to the soundtrack and kind of get that.
Yeah. And I loved that about certain soundtracks. When I was a kid, I would play a record, pause it, then put the dialogue on there, and I would record it onto a tape because I just had all the time in the world. What do you got?
That's some real nerd shit.
Halloween Year 2? Yeah, it is.
This is Halloween 2. Little tape there. Got Mike Myers wearing the little nurse's hat.
Yeah, it's like the Joker.
This is Death Waltz put this out. This is pretty bare bones. There's like nothing inside, just a little white tape. Yeah. But nice, cool thing there. Pretty sure they put out a whole vinyl version of this, but I was kind of cheap and got the little cheap part. Yeah,
but see, being a collector, I love cassettes, and I did not bring down my mountain of cassettes from upstairs. But
my favorite thing about cassettes, like if you go to a show or something now, or anything in general, like I don't want to have to carry around a bunch of merch while I'm like walking around. But if I want to buy something, I have a tape player and listen to tapes all the time. But I can just literally like buy a tape from a band, stick it in my pocket, and I don't have to mess with it the rest of the time.
Yeah,
which is one of the main things I love about buying tapes at shows or any kind of convention type things. It's I just mainly because I hate lugging around a bunch of crap with me.
Yeah, and I'm always in fear of like messing it up.
Yeah,
like I can't hold this at the concert or the show or the convention, and then I got to run back to my car, which hopefully is close, and then go all the way back and get it autographed or just breathe on it. I don't care.
Yeah.
But Halloween 2, Pharisee Saraband, Halloween 2 soundtrack. This one has 7. No wait, cut 5. What's 5 and 7? And Halloween 3.
Great soundtrack.
It is. It's an amazing soundtrack. This is actually one of my favorites of all of the Halloween soundtracks that have ever been put out. All the scores that have been put out. This is my favorite.
Yeah, the just really the beginning of that with the main theme and where it has fills out the little pumpkin and all the electronic type music they were doing on that.
Yeah,
which people at the time probably absolutely hated, but I think it's great.
It wasn't that movie. It's very polarizing.
Yeah.
So I bought. This is what I was talking about when I bought Halloween reissues. This is one that has. This is from Sacred Bones. This is from. This has the Halloween on one side and the Escape from New York themes on the other. I don't know if you can see that because they put like a metallic cover on it.
Nice glare.
But it's fucking great. Shut up. And we're talking about packaging. When you collect things like this, I mean, we're just packaging nerds. This is what we do. We love them. We love them. We love them. So, Sacred Bones also was able to put out the Halloween 2018 soundtrack, and they put it out in basically a trick-or-treat candy bag.
Yeah, that's
I'm sorry this is going to be rattling on the microphone. But it's beautiful, and it's still sealed, so I need to actually just buy it, and so I can actually have another one. $20. Remember this one? $20.
$20? Dang, yeah, that's a deal. Didn't you get that cool bag?
It was brand new at the time. It was actually a gift from some friends.
Yeah, that's great. That other one's even better.
Rattle, rattle, rattle. So what did Sacred Bones do again? They put out another goodie bag, another trick-or-treat bag. This one's actually fabric, screen printed. The Halloween Kills soundtrack. Probably the best thing about Halloween Kills is the soundtrack. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people who love that movie.
Evil Dies Tonight.
Yeah. In case you didn't know.
In case you didn't know that.
But I do not.
I got a buddy who loves that movie. Josh Hackney loves that movie.
Yeah, he's the lead singer of a stoner band called...
Smoking a lot of weed, watch a lot of Halloween Kills, man.
Oh my God. What's the name of his band?
Dirtbag.
Thank you.
If you're a fan, look that up.
All right, what's next? Death Waltz Records.
Death Waltz.
One of the newer companies. I mean, new as we say in the last 20 years now, pretty much. But yeah, they're amazing. What do you got? It looks dirty. Actually, spooky.
This is Mondo. I picked it up.
Cut! I'm actually going to leave that in.
It got mixed in. I thought this was on Death Waltz. This is Mondo. Oh my goodness. I'll talk about this anyways. Mondo.
Yeah, Mondo rules.
Mondo's great. They put out this Cannibal Holocaust soundtrack. One of my all-time favorite soundtracks of all time, Riz Ortolani, which just goes from like the somber Cannibal Holocaust theme, and then all of a sudden there's a disco song, and then it's just more haunting music. This has...
The last time we talked about this soundtrack, we were with... it was the podcast, the regular podcast, and Death Metal Dave was like, last thing I think about when I think about that movie is the music.
This is one of the first things I think about when I think about Cannibal Holocaust is how great the music is. And if you get the soundtrack, it's got that nice swamp green. And when you put it on your record player, it puts the right through her mouth there.
Yeah, that's
as you set it on.
And
spins on her mouth, just like from the movie.
Oh yeah, that's how it happens. It's like in the movie. So we're actually going to start talking about Death Waltz. So I'll pull out a real Death Waltz record. The Fog. This is a double record they put out. This was the very first Death Waltz record that I actually bought. And I was super excited because they announced it. And then I went to the record store because we have a record store here. We have many record stores here in Louisville, Kentucky, which is great. But this is that soundtrack that I just thought the fucking cover was awful. And I'm not slighting the artist. I'm sure they do amazing work. They probably do. They had to be noticed just to be put on this album. But of all of the covers to put on a fucking John Carpenter soundtrack.
It doesn't even say The Fog on the front of it.
Yeah, it's on the back.
On the back. But if you're at a record store and you're just flipping through things, it doesn't just like pop out at you.
No.
You just be like, what is that? And keep going.
And I'm not here to shit on them that much. Even though I just did for like 10 minutes. I can't draw
like a stick figure, so I can't judge.
Jesus. What do you...
This one is from Death Waltz. House by the Cemetery.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, that's great.
This is a good Lucio Fulci.
Here's the companion piece.
Yeah. 2 different ones.
Yeah. City of the Living Dead.
Yeah. Good stuff.
That's great.
This isn't like a super memorable soundtrack for me, but I love this movie. I love this piece of shit. No. I love this movie. I love this soundtrack. This is also a gift from someone, and I treasure it. Actually, I never thought I'd want a Gates of Hell soundtrack, let alone like the score. Like, what the hell? This also comes with a fold-out poster inside with some cool artwork. And also, actually, the front of this says Classic Goblin Style Italio Prague. So it's just, Goblin got so big at soundtracks, people were just ripping off their sound.
No, it never happens. And of course, I already talked about this, the Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers, also from Death Waltz.
This is a nice, big Slumber Party Massacre from Death Waltz. And this is a nice, big cardboard, record.
Sleeve.
Also comes with a nice little poster. It comes inside of here.
Yeah. Again, with the updated the covers.
Yeah, the artwork on that's awesome. And this is probably one of the most simple scores. It's just like a minimal synth music that's somebody probably made in their bedroom in the 80s for this super low budget movie. Well,
the director, she actually, when they scored that film, they only used an old school Casio.
Yeah.
And I love it. And then they kind of brought that sound back for the remake. If you haven't seen the remake that people kind of avoided, I think Sci-Fi did.
Yeah.
Man, don't. Go watch it.
I heard it wasn't bad. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Actually, if you look at the artwork on here, it has a little Casio tone right on the front of it. It brings it up a lot in here when you read the inside details of that one.
Any other Death Waltz?
That's all my Death Waltz.
I'm going to go off on the rails here a little bit. I'm going to go on to Motown Records put out soundtracks. They did. And one of the first ones that I ever got from them, oddly enough, is a John Carpenter record. I'm thinking because there's so much classic music on here.
Oh,
I mean, I'm just making this up as I'm now just recording this. There's so much classic music on this record that they were just like, let's just go and get to the people who own the copyright to most of these. I mean, I could be wrong. Please correct me. And the other one is totally a horror film, The Last Dragon. I had to bring this. Yeah. Oh my God. It's got Vanity. It's got so many kick-ass 80s things. If you're an 80s person at all, find this soundtrack.
Oh yeah.
Both from Motown.
Rhythm of the Night rules.
They also did the soundtrack to freaking Short Circuit. Who's Johnny? I'm going to talk about United Artists. The United Artists didn't put out, at least not the ones that I bought, a lot of records. But at least not for the one for me, horror fans and sci-fi nerds, but they did one that is, I think it's a must for all of us. And that is the Invasion of the Body Snatchers vinyl. This is fucking so good. This is an original one. And also I wanted to bring to light about these little holes that we see so much on old vinyls. I mean, you see them in new vinyls. Some people would think that's because it's a promotional thing. It's not. I have a lot of promotional copies of all the ones I've been holding up. You'll see a stamp. That's what that is. The stamp is saying that this is only for promotional copy. So when you see the hole or the cut on the sleeve or even a groove, which always scares the shit out of me, because I'm like, how the hell do they know where the record is? It's because it gets shipped back to the manufacturer, and then it gets shipped back again to the salespeople, and then the people who sell it do not make people who made it don't make a dime. Yeah. Only the people that own the record company or record store. Well, talking about bands and awesome music, if you don't have this, you should really pick it up. Acid Witch.
It's great.
Yeah, and it's all covers. It's not a soundtrack, but for soundtrack nerds, this is dedicated to John Fasano, who did all of the music, most of the music this is based off of. It's got I Am Back, After Midnight, Soldiers of the Night, and of course Party Time from Return of the Living Dead. But get this fucking thing.
That's great. Acid Witch is great in general. And
yeah, they are.
Slasher Dave, who's the lead singer, he has a whole nother side project that's just called Slasher Dave and does just John Carpenter-esque synth music. One of my favorite things that he did is he did 2 separate, like minimal kind of like low synth kind of Christmas soundtrack kind of things. And they're like great. And they're like the 2 things that I played the most this past Christmas was Slasher Dave's Christmas.
Slasher Dave's Ho Ho Ho.
So it was like me and the wife, Christmas morning, listening to Slasher Dave. It's good stuff. Highly suggest looking it up. Speaking of things that were never issued to begin with.
No.
Class of Nukem High soundtrack. This just came out. Well, came out in 2014, but it's not a reissue.
Just yesterday.
It's just an issue. Because they never put this out in the 80s when the movie came out.
No.
This is just on Troma. Troma put this out themselves. This is a thing that I, found on the internet drunk one night. And they're like, put your pre-order up for a Class of Nukem High soundtrack. And I was like, hell yeah. And then 3 months later, it showed up at my house. Completely forgot that I ordered it. But this is great. It's got my favorite song on here is probably the song Run For Your Life, which I think they play like 4 or 5 times in the movie, which is just by some band called Stratus that I don't really know anything else they did. It also includes the Class of Nukem High Part 2 theme song, which just goes, Class of Nukem High Part 2. That's the whole song. It's great.
We can talk about Sacred Bones. We could talk about, was it Linares or how do you pronounce it? He's making that up. They're one of my favorites. We talk about one-off soundtracks that I have by one company. The Phantom of the Paradise soundtrack. This is original, and God, I love it so much.
I need to rewatch that. I watched it once.
Well, the John Carpenter's Lost Themes. I have this. Sacred Bones did this, and they also did My Gate, I think, or is that TerraVision?
TerraVision.
TerraVision. We need to talk about them too, because by the way, thank you, TerraVision, for existing. Oh, I just did that. Popcorn. Who put this out? Oh, Stranger Disc Records.
I'm not even. Yeah.
I never heard of them, but when this came out, I heard about it then. So, Strange Disc Records. Popcorn. Let's talk about Linares Records. What do you got?
I don't have any Linares records.
I have several, because they are one of my newer favorite ones. This double disc Gatefold Night of the Demons release is fucking awesome, and it's a soundtrack that I know of, never was released.
Yeah, artwork, all the artwork on these are great.
Yeah, Cemetery Man, Gatefold, double record, badass. They, oh my God, there's my Monster Squad Mondo record.
It's right there.
He's hiding. Let's see. And then, of course, we've got to talk about Rocktober Blood.
Billy's back, baby.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So they released a double version of this. Like I picked up the one that everybody got originally, which is great. And then they double dipped us, but they double dipped us in a way that I totally accept. They came out with this version of it, which has the original sleeve, but it came with the mask. And it was only I think mine was like $60.
Yeah, that's great.
That's amazing. Yeah. A mask that would normally cost me $60 comes with the original vinyl soundtrack, plus the sleeve that goes with it, and a poster. Thank you for existing.
Now I'm kicking myself for not buying that. Should have bought that when it came out.
Paul Bearer Press, Trick or Treat Studios, they all came together and made that. Zagoni, they all came together and made that happen. So thank God.
Yeah, that's killer.
And I'm going to go to one I've never heard of before or since, and that's Scotty Brothers. They put out the Wraith soundtrack, which is for early 80s heavy metal, even hair metal aficionados. This soundtrack has amazing people on it. And the movie's great, by the way. Charlie Sheen, Shaylin Finn, yummy, yummy. I'm doing that for Charlie Sheen, by the way.
Shaylin.
Oh, he's got tapes.
We got some tapes. Now, this company also does records, too. I just bought some tapes from them because I love tapes. TerraVision Records, which I've been to. They have a store in Savannah, Georgia that I've been to. not called TerraVision, but I cannot remember the name of the store right now. But they're putting out like a lot of like niche stuff that you're not even like Spookies soundtrack. Elves, which you can't even buy. Like I have a bootleg of this. This movie's not even, I think it's out of print.
Yeah, I don't think it's even on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
It's on DVD, but mine's a VHS PS.
That's what mine is. It's a VHS rip. Basket case and ring damage.
Yeah, you have my vinyl.
And you have this very nice Sacrifice.
They put out the Gate soundtrack and made it look just like the book, the dark book in the movie. So you actually have a slipcover that covers the Gate soundtrack if you want to have that covered. But the coolest thing I thought was it's a pop-up book.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Isn't it fucking great?
They went all out on that. Like everything about that is amazing.
Yeah. And the other thing is you have to be very careful when you open yours because this paper is very, very thin. But there's the Gate. I'm trying to get the reflection off the Gate. If you want the movie poster, but who the fuck wants that? This is awesome.
Yeah. And they also, now I just got these on tape. They also released all these on vinyl as well. But also they're starting to release their own Blu-rays too.
Yeah.
Now. So yeah, they're going to start putting out more movies and stuff, kind of like, Vinegar Syndrome and other people like that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that because the one they've put out so far, I've already bought and it looks great.
We're losing time. We've been here forever, but there's so many records that we have not gotten to. And of course, if you're a Ghostbusters fan like me, you probably triple dipped. So they put out like the Chartbusters, the promo record, the original record, and then the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man double record. Ghostbusters, man.
If you remember these, Kasingle, Dokken, Dream Warriors. If you have that.
You can't even hit that note anymore.
Oh, no way. Yeah. This has 3 songs on it. Dream Warriors, Back for the Attack, Paris is Burning. This is great. They actually released a single of that. If you ever found the 12-inch with the whole, has the entire Dream Warriors artwork on the front of it, and it looks amazing. I wish they had done that for the tape that I have, but I've never seen that other one anywhere else. Got a buddy that has a copy of it. It looks amazing. Yeah, I don't have that. I have a Back for the Attack, which the song is from, and then they put out a Back for the Attack double album like a year later, which I have that too. We were talking about this before, the Serpent and the Rainbow soundtrack on CD. It's super, super, super rare. This is a double. This has got to be a bootleg. This is Evil Dead 1 and 2. Joe LaDuca's soundtrack is amazing. The Plan 9 from Outer Space soundtrack. Who knew? So this was really cool. It was when Rob Zombie was releasing records through the Universal label because he could have access to all that stuff. He did the Franz Waxman, a whole Bride of Frankenstein and Frankenstein original soundtracks. It's got a book. It's got tells little stories. It's amazing. I didn't even realize he had done that. That's actually pretty cool. Yeah, I don't even care what you think about Rob Zombie. This is amazing. Just the fact that you preserve that. I mean, because a lot of that stuff, you don't think about it. Like I was watching a movie the other night and like, you look up and they're like, the original score to this movie was lost in a fire in 1955 or something. And it's like, just, you don't think about old stuff like that. It's just not preserved, and just even having that, even on anywhere where somebody cared enough to do that is great. Yeah. And in between each song has dialogue from the movie in it. It's great. So then I also have the Street Trash soundtrack. Now I thought you had this on cassette. Am I wrong? I do not have I'm totally wrong. But that's okay. This is a badass. Street Trash rules, by the way. Yeah. I mean, I think we've come to the end. We've got so many other things down here. I've got all the old Disney, like, kids vinyls and stuff. God damn. We could spend another hour on this. That Disney one's good if you just want to hear a cat screech as loud as possible for like 5 minutes. Break into Electric Boogaloo. Well, thanks, guys. I think we're going to wrap this up. We still have more records to go through, but we don't have another hour. Yeah. Nobody wants to sit here. Yeah. I don't want to sit here. My little record box is only so big. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you give a shit about these kind of things that we're doing, we're going to do more. We're going to do one on novelizations. We're going to do one on movie posters, maybe VHS. Who knows? We've got so much stuff. It's going to be like a collector series that we're doing. I love it. I love soundtracks. And hopefully I'll be spending much more money on cool stuff as long as it keeps coming out, as long as I keep getting paid. So I need a sponsor. Sponsor me, Ace. Yeah. See you guys. Thank you. Thanks.
Dun 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 dun.
Dun, 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 dun.
All right. Oh, that was cool. I think it's like over an hour.
I know, that's